Hello, everybody, and welcome to our fifth ever Fitness, Food, and Fun. It's a chat with Annie Mack. Today, I'm very happy to have my friend and guest, Kim Zengerle. Kim owns two gyms now, Ignite Fitness in West Hartford, and she just opened up her second location in Avon, Connecticut. Kim has been a longtime personal trainer as well, college educated, several advanced certifications. Kim was my personal trainer for, I think, at least 6 years. I know that you're also a big fan of tennis. You play tennis, but you've also gone to see like the US Open, I
Yeah.
think several times. And on top of that, you did fitness competitions. So
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
high level overview of you. And if there's some things that I'm missing from your fitness world you want to fill us in on, please do that, and then we'll transition into how you got started in the world of fitness.
Yeah, that was quite the intro. I didn't know that you knew all of those things about me or remembered all those things about me. But yeah, I mean, I think that touches a little bit of everything. We did work together for quite some time. I'm responsible for all of the physique that you have now. I like to take credit for it. But you even post working with me have been working hard on your fitness and sticking with it. So that's great. Great to see.
So, are there any things that I didn't tell in that intro that are a big part of the fitness world that you would like us to know about you? And if not, let's get to where it all began for you with fitness.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact, which will tie into all the stories, I'm Southern California, so I am a transplant. So all of my initial fitness experience and kind of what led me down the path definitely started in Southern California. I'll go right into, how I got into it. I was always an athlete in high school, tennis, basketball, and track. Definitely my forte more in on the tennis side, as you mentioned. And then post high school, going into college, I think I've always felt like you should do something that you love. I was never the type of person to kind of look at a career path as like, oh, what's going to make me the most money or what is going to give me the most prestige amongst the community and all of that. It's just what am I going to enjoy doing and be able to support myself, and have a great career doing it. So explored a bunch of different avenues, ended up in kinesiology, which is, exercise science. Every program's a little bit different in their emphasis, but general fitness was the focus under the kinesiology umbrella, Cal State Long Beach. And from there, as a part of that curriculum, you really have to kind of get involved in fitness out of the gates, even without any experience. So before I even applied for the program, I had to get some experience under my belt in a fitness environment. So I applied at 24 Hour Fitness, major chain. There's some over here on the East Coast as well, as a front desk associate.
Hmm.
And imagine my surprise when they called me in for an interview to be a trainer with, with no experience. No, I mean, oh geez, I was 21 at the time. So, or no, was I 20? I was 20. I was 20 at the time. So that was a big surprise, and I didn't really think that was possible. That you could just go in and train people without any knowledge or experience. I'm just getting into my program in college, but that's kind of how it went. And they hired me as a trainer. That was my first job, 24 Hour Fitness, and I worked there doing, back then it was all one-on-one training. So I did that for, oh geez, 7 years maybe. Moved around to a couple different gyms as they opened up some gyms. And then that's really where I gained all of my experience working with the general population. So as opposed to some like exercise science focuses and degrees, they go into more clinical and hospitals and such. My experience has always been with general population, which is great because I love people and I love to work with different types of people with different goals. It's super satisfying and rewarding. So I did that for 7 years. And then in there sprinkled in, I did some corporate wellness as well, which is where we met on the East Coast. But I did some work with Toyota and some healthcare companies out there. And then I eventually found myself on the East Coast. So out of the gates, when I first moved over here, I applied remotely I wanted to have a job once I got here. So that's where I started to work at Pratt and Whitney, where we met in their wellness program, where the whole idea was corporate wellness. So get the employees to move more, be healthier, minimize sick days, be more productive, happier, healthier employees. And I did that probably for a couple years. And then my then husband was opening up a gym that I helped with quite a bit and launched the fitness programming piece of that. And then as that business has started to grow, then I basically went to go do that full time, really manage and build fitness programs. So
No, I didn't know that about you. That's you went in for a front desk job and
yeah.
ended up as a trainer, especially with like all your qualifications today. But there's that twist of fate that we were talking about before we started the podcast. And what was it about that told you this was the right thing to do for you that really pulled you into this world?
Yeah, well, it was kind of scary thinking that I mean, I'm pretty outgoing and confident and, driven now in my adult age. Back then, obviously, I was an adult, but I was a young adult and it was new. And kind of the idea of, guiding people to their fitness goals, I really didn't feel qualified. But I also, felt like uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is probably the best way to get better at doing something. And if I waited till, I'm out of college or till I felt like I was really, in a position to be the best trainer ever, that's just never going to happen, right? You learn by doing. And I kind of was like, I'll just be uncomfortable and figure it out as I go along. And, and it came very natural to me once I was in front of people and helping, guiding, be responsible, don't do things that are going to hurt people. Obviously, I take my education very seriously. So getting further certifications and everything, that really kind of got me into it. And then once I felt comfortable, it, never looked back, which is great.
I think you made an important point because what we're here to do is be relatable to people. You know, you taking someone like yourself from the fitness industry and people are saying, oh man, how did she get there? But what you said was going into this, you weren't comfortable. You didn't know that you had the capability to accomplish basically what you've accomplished. And you did though. And I think that's what gives a lot of people a roadblock is their perspective before dipping their toes in the pool is it's maybe an intimidating place to be. And you might not think that you have the stamina, the energy, the strength, the mindset, you know, even to just walk into a gym to work out. But I think what you said that's very relatable to everyone is that you didn't feel like you did. And look at you now opening up two gyms. So there's like a message that you have for anybody out there that sort of has that mindset right now.
Yeah, risk. It's funny because that, like, I've never really kind of articulated the story like how I just was telling you about it, but that was probably the moment that kind of set the path of the direction of where I'm at now, is that I just kind of chose to take a risk and be uncomfortable and, and see where it went. And then that has since paid off and kind of stuck with me over time, because deciding to go off on my own and then opening my own training studio is very risky, right? It's very risky, but it's also, what I'm passionate about. It's what I'm good at. I made my career over establishing and maintaining relationships with people. I genuinely care. And so I was confident that, as risky as it was, it was going to work out. It's a calculated risk, if you will. So my message would definitely be, if you're passionate about something, health, fitness, or whatever avenue, it's worth the risk. Weigh the pros and cons, calculate out what you need to be successful, and just go for it.
Now, the next thing I want you to talk about that we'll transition into is like, where is fitness in your life today? But before we do that, I want to take you back to childhood. You started this story at basically the college level,
Yeah.
right? But what was really the first thing that you kind of got experience with that maybe as a child sparked a passion towards fitness?
Yeah. Oh geez, how old was I? I don't even know. My childhood memory is so bad, but maybe 7 or 8. I was in gymnastics for a little while. So that, and gymnastics is one of those sports that I like. Gymnastics and dancers, I feel like, are the best athletes in the world. You have to be strong, flexible, stable, mobile, endurance. Like it's all of the things wrapped up into one. They're like the perfect athletes in my mind. So I started that at a young age, and I just, it's even as a kid, I loved the idea of being capable and being able to do these things that not everyone can do with hard work and dedication. And, that probably, I would say, kind of sparked my initial interest and love for just being healthy and fit.
So now tell us what fitness is like today for you. What's the day to day for Kim Zengerle?
It's funny because I've now worked in a gym setting for about 15 or so years, right? And that has evolved over time where my personal fitness kind of fits in there. So in my 20s, in between every client, with every free moment, I was working out, doing something, lifting a weight, running on the treadmill, like doing all this stuff. Into my probably 30s, it was much more what probably most of my clients experience. It's a little bit more scheduled, it's balanced out with a ton of other life obligations, and still very prominent. And then now, as a business owner, where all of my obligations are hard to schedule, right? There's always something that needs to be done. I'm finding myself is experiencing a lot of the challenges that clients experience. Like, where do you fit it in? Even though just because I work in a gym, people assume that I've got all this time to work out, or like I just work out all day. But really, it's not like that. It's I have to schedule it just like how clients schedule sessions. I schedule when I'm working out. I plan out my workout. So at these days, I would say I probably average about 3 to 4 days a week of exercise, where most people make the assumption for sure that I'm working out 6, 7 days a week. But just kind of like we tell the clients, it's not about volume necessarily. It's about working out smarter so I can get the same amount of work done and get the results that I'm looking for in like 3 to 4 days a week, which is great. So combination of strength and endurance work, it's not super complicated. It's very like how I train the clients.
And that was a great point because I think that's what people think when they see somebody like you. She's working out 7 days a week. She's, eating perfectly. And the reality is, and from most people that I talk to that actually work in the gym, they say it's much harder for them now in that type of role to actually be able to work out for themselves than it was before. And I've read that so many times. So can you talk a little bit about what are those things that you balance out in life around your schedule with fitness, and what takes priority?
Yeah, I mean, right now the two clubs, just opening the second one, it's been open for 3 weeks now, so it's brand new. Those are kind of like my version of children, right? They have to be coddled, they have to be, built and developed over time. So that's really the priority. So, and everything that you can imagine that goes along with opening a business. So the financial piece, budgeting, marketing, promotion, networking, getting business through the door, all of that stuff. So that's really the priority. It has to happen, right? So I that kind of gets laid down first, what has to happen with that. And then you look at the gaps. And obviously my personal fitness needs to be in there, right? For mental and physical well-being. So then, that gets scheduled in there. The nutrition piece, meal prep, all that stuff. So and I have dogs as well. So, I have to take care of my dogs. I actually have aging dogs. They're 16 years old, straight from California, two little teacup chihuahuas. So, they have demands of their own that I have to manage. So it's just, like anything, it just, whenever I start to feel a little overwhelmed with just the obligations and like, oh, how am I going to fit it all in and all that stuff. If you look at any, working mom, like, and the pandemic has made that so much more apparent. The things that people are having to balance right now are insane. But like anything, you kind of, if you have, where there's a will, there's a way. You can figure out the way. People always rise to the demands that are put on them. So it's, if I start to get a little frustrated with how I'm going to fit something in, you just got to look at it a little. I look at it a little differently, take a different approach, and what can I change, what can't change. So eventually it all gets in and everything gets done.
You mentioned when telling your story, like what struck a passion about this, and that you really like to help people. And you actually just made the statement that these gyms are like your kids. So this
Yeah.
is something that you really care about. So I just want to give you a quick second to maybe talk about the passionate part of it, how it fuels you, and then we'll transition into the food because you already gave us a little bit of a lead in with the meal prep.
Yeah. So I think, with my initial experience, I was fortunate enough to kind of get started with general population. And when I say that, like just your average person. It's you work in a grocery store, you are an accountant, you are a mom, it's all of the people you encounter throughout your daily life, right? So what's great, those are real people that have real goals, real challenges. And when, as a fitness professional, someone wants to lose weight so they feel better about themselves, or they so that they're healthier, literally healthier, like lower blood pressure, decreased cholesterol, things like that. And as a fitness professional, we have the very unique experience and ability to make an impact in people's lives for real. So when that happens, when you see someone reach a goal or a pivotal point in their health and fitness, it's like nothing is more rewarding. So that's what kind of gets me up for work in the morning. That's what keeps me there working late at night. The more people that me and the team can impact in a positive way and get them, achieving these things that maybe they didn't even think were possible, the better. That's talk about career goals. That's it. Just getting people to see the things that they want to see, be the best versions of themselves, reach whatever health wellness goals they have, or just feel better and be happier. Not many professions, or I should say there aren't enough professions that really result in that kind of end game. So that's what fuels me for sure.
And I think part of what gets you there, to being truly healthy is the food piece.
Yeah.
And you did mention the food prep, which could
Yeah.
be intimidating to
Yeah.
people like on the surface. But the other thing that you just said was people being truly healthy. And one of my previous guests, for example, had mentioned in her flow, it was about starting to use her body not for appearances purposes, but for what her body could do and how it made her feel. So can you transition us into the food segment and start to talk a little bit about how that comes together for you and for
Yeah,
your life?
this is probably where I become the most relatable. I hate food prep. I don't enjoy it. I think it takes too much time. There are things that I think are more important that I'd rather do with my time. I'm not a great cook. I tend to get bored. I could probably eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day of the week. Dinner is where I like a little variety. It is not my thing. But at the same time, I recognize it's such a huge piece of being healthy, feeling good, moving well, all the other goals associated with health and wellness. So, it's just another problem to solve, right? So I personally use a meal prep service, Box Bistro, local business over out of Berlin. And they deliver to my clubs. They also deliver to homes, but they basically pre-make very well balanced, macroed out, calorie controlled meals that rotate on a weekly menu, so you can have some variety there and pick what you want. So I use that for a lot of my standard, like I'm in the club morning and night, so my lunches, I'm always in the club eating lunch, so I have all of those pre-ordered and delivered. It's easy, it's convenient, they taste good, they're great, they're inexpensive, it's cheaper than it would probably cost me to go to a grocery store and buy it. And that's kind of how I manage my food for the most part. Now, when I am either not going that route, or let's say going to be out and about, so using that service is not going to work for whatever given scenario, then I order out a lot. So I have kind of my staple items that I keep in the house that are basic produce and vegetables that are easy. I cut up and make kind of like a little salad. And then other than that, I eat a lot of fish. So raw fish, cooked fish, vegetables, proteins. I basically try to keep it simple and keep the flavor palettes coming with various spicings and, sauces that are not unhealthy. You can
Now,
hear my dogs coughing in the background, my old dogs.
they're welcome to join. And when you're talking about ordering out,
Mhm.
you mentioned the meal prep service, and obviously that makes probably everything pretty perfect for you, right? For the most part. But when you're ordering out, it's probably not perfect, right? So
Yeah.
can you talk about a little bit about some of the compromises and choices that you have to make on a day-to-day basis? And sometimes you probably really enjoy those compromises that you're making.
Yeah, when someone else is preparing your food, or you're getting something from a restaurant, restaurants' jobs primarily their goal is to make something taste good and make you want it again, right? So the unfortunate sacrifice with that is that typically there's going to be some ingredients in there that are not the most healthy, or they're probably more calories than you really need to consume in a given meal. So I try to make good choices at restaurants where I can make simple choices. But I love burgers. I'm a hamburger person. My favorite burger in the world is the Plan B blue cheeseburger. I love it. Like on the planet, California, East Coast, doesn't matter. It's my favorite burger. I get a whole wheat bun, so I try to make some good choices there. And, I also love ketchup. I love anything that goes with ketchup. So French fries, burgers, I am a ketchup fanatic. But even that, you can make some healthier choices there. So I try to stock pretty simply made ketchup. And I wouldn't say I have a brand that I tend to go to. I typically go to Whole Foods and kind of find the one that looks the best on the label and hope that it's there the next time I need more ketchup. But oftentimes the brands change around. So I'm always, looking at labels. But yeah, so the sacrifices, no one's perfect, and who needs or wants to be perfect with their nutrition, right? Really takes the fun out of it. So the best part about being in fitness and having a fitness routine too is if I consume a little bit more calories or something a little less healthy than I probably should, then I have the ability and the knowledge to burn a few more calories, throw in an extra workout, do a little bit more than I normally would fitness wise to kind of make up for that. If I have something like, let's say, training for running or something, and I'm going to be doing more long runs, then that's going to give me a little more leeway to make some bad or not perfect food choices. So there's always a balance that you can manage.
It sounds like you have a really, I think, relatable, not overly, not too stringent of a requirement. I want to say is, what do you say to your clients? Is that the same message that you give to your clients? Do you tell them it's an 80-20 thing, or do you just tell them, hey, it's fine. You eat pizza on Friday night. It doesn't matter. You have that ability to overcome this. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, the goals play a big role. So not everyone has a goal of looking like a bikini model or a Muscle Magazine cover photo, right? And if you do have those goals, and you mentioned that I did do a figure competition once, then everything that I just said is out the window. Like there is no balance because your goal is it's very high level. It requires all of these sacrifices, right? But most people, me personally, in my fitness at this point in my life, and most of our clients that I encounter on a day-to-day basis, they're looking to, of course, they want to look good, right? You want to look good, you want to feel good, you want to move better. These are more of the fitness goals that people tend to have over the long term once they, get past the more aesthetic focused time in their life. And when that's now the focus, balance is so much easier. So why we tell the clients the same thing. You're not going to eat perfect all the time. You still need to enjoy your life. We as just Americans in our culture, food and socializing is very tied together, right? Especially now, there's not a whole lot else to do. So, enjoy your food, make good choices when you can. Nothing is the end of the world. Like, should you go through fast food and order McDonald's 3 days a week? Of course not. Not only is that not good for any kind of aesthetic fitness goal, that's also really horrible for your insides, right? So from a healthy standpoint, I tend to keep the goal more on, or the focus more on, a client's specific goal and their focus is at this point. So eat healthy, be healthy, enjoy life. Don't get too extreme in any one direction.
I'm going to make a transition for us now from
Okay.
the food side. I think you've already told us your splurgy stuff into the fun side. But as my transition, I want to say, Kim, you're going on vacation for a week.
Yeah.
What's your diet going to be like? What are you going to eat and drink? And that's a nice segue into starting to talk about what is fun for you in your life.
Okay, well, my vacations tend to be to warm locations. So I am a beach person. Oh, there's my dog. I am a beach person. I enjoy being in the sun. I also enjoy when I'm in the sun, not doing much. I like to lay in the sun, lay on a beach, enjoy my scenery. So when I'm on vacation, I pretty much eat and drink whatever it is that I feel like eating and drinking. So the balance piece, or the wanting to eat healthy, is so much more, it's less of a sacrifice. Once you have the right mindset, it's not a sacrifice. It's not like, oh, you can't have this and you have to have that. It's when I'm on vacation, I still want protein. I still want vegetables. I still want a balanced meal. It's just going to be probably spiced and sauced and all of that a little bit differently depending on where I am, which is, going to end up with more calories. I still don't want to eat more. I never want to eat more than I normally do because I don't feel good when I eat too much. Like my stomach hurts. I don't want to ruin my vacation. And same thing with drinking. I don't at this point, my 20s maybe it was different, but at this point I don't like to drink heavily or drink 6 drinks in one sitting because I don't feel good after. And when I'm on vacation, I like to be present and enjoy what I'm doing. So I wouldn't say like my food choices are a whole lot different other than the fact that I don't have the meal prep service, right? So I'm probably consuming a little bit more calories than I do when I'm at home. But that offsets with a little bit of swimming, a little more walking, some beach volleyball, things like that. So typically I'm a little more active, just generally moving, not necessarily formal exercise on vacation.
And when you say, I'm going to eat what I want when I'm on vacation, I think the important part for people to hear, the takeaway there is it's the mental aspect of it, right? It's that relief, the stress relief, and the fun part. If it's you got to make it fun.
Right. Yeah, the eating what you want. I think if what you want to eat is very high cholesterol, high calorie, high sugar, the questions need to be more like why are those the foods that you really are comforted by or that you crave, less about oh you shouldn't or can't eat those things. So once your mindset is kind of a little more aligned with you eat for fuel, of course you want to enjoy it. Who doesn't love an amazing meal from an Italian restaurant and all that? It just food has to be positioned properly. And when that's the case, then it's so much easier to balance your decision making and not worry about blowing all your fitness goals from one meal. So it is a mindset shift. It really is.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point to say. Why is it that you're craving these certain things? And there could be a lot of factors behind that, like stress and so forth.
Right.
But let's dip our toes into the fun part a little bit more here and say, hey, we've just eaten whatever we wanted, and now we just want to focus on what's fun. What's a fun thing for you to do in your life?
So it's going to sound so cheesy and so, boring and predictable, but I have fun every day. My work is fun. I work in a gym, I get to wear sweats every day in my life. I like encounter great people, I have great conversations all day, every day. So like every day I feel like is fun. When I'm doing a different kind of fun, I like playing tennis. I love doing anything outdoors. So I love being at the beach. I love sunshine and warmth. I love to dance. So right now, that's probably the one thing that like you can't do. I feel like because of a pandemic, I could dance by myself in my house, but there's no, you can't go dancing. There's no weddings happening. I like to dance at weddings. All that is not happening right now. But yeah, I would say, every day is fun for me, but there are the things not related to my work, like tennis and dancing and travel that are probably one of my go-to fun things.
You have an interesting mix, and I see this sometimes with people that are either heavily into fitness or just really work out a lot. They put a lot into that during their regular day-to-day lives. When they go on vacation, they want downtime, and it's different because some people may go on vacation and they want to do something really adventurous because they're maybe not getting that much activity into their day, or maybe they just are really adventurous junkies. But I think you have an interesting thing of like when you're at home, a lot of your stuff is around, I would say, like dancing, for example, and tennis, the things that bring you fun come with a fitness related aspect to it. But then you need to turn that dial off to recharge.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting dynamic about you that maybe you could tell people about. Just what's your mindset when you're going into these things? Can you explain why those are the fun for you at those times, and maybe like when you're on vacation, why you just really like to soak up the sun?
Yeah, I think in general, energy is created by people, right? So when you're around people and great people, that brings a certain amount of like natural joy and positive energy, and which just spawns all this other stuff. And I think dancing and sports and things like that, they all kind of overlap with that, the energy created by people and movement and all of that. So that probably is why those are my go-to kind of fun things. But don't get me wrong, I love to sleep. I am a sleeper. I enjoy a comfortable bed. One of my favorite things ever is sleeping in hotel rooms. Like when I travel, that's one of my favorite things. I love sleeping. There's nothing more enjoyable than waking up late, like just waking up whenever your body naturally wakes you up. So that's like my downtime and recharging. And I think also to your point where I tend to gravitate towards things around people, it's my career and a lot of my fun choices. I also do like to be by myself. Like I enjoy being by myself, just alone with my thoughts. I will go normal times. I have no problems going to dinner by myself. I'll go see a movie by myself. I enjoy, kind of just hanging out with me too. And maybe that's because I spend a lot of time with people. So it's a good change up.
And I think that's an important message for people to hear too, that you get a lot of energy from being around people, which is the definition of being an extrovert. But at the same time, you recharge by being by yourself, which
Yep.
is basically the definition of an introvert. So you really have both sides of the spectrum. And I think that that's great because you really can't be like pigeonholed into a category. Like I said, you can't put the quotes around you. But the fitness, food, and fun. So we talked about all three aspects. And what I like to do is kind of get to the capstone here and say, how do those three things come together for you in life? Does fitness lead to your food and food lead to your fun? Or do you kind of view all these things as different aspects of your life?
Yeah, I think that kind of changes over time depending on what's happening and what's going on. I would say, generally speaking, my life does revolve around fitness for my career, a lot of my personal behaviors. Food is a major part of that as just the fuel. So it's kind of a means to an end. But then, I enjoy going out to eat and experiencing new foods and new restaurants. So one of my things I do like to do for fun is go out to eat. And right now that's not really, well, you can go out to eat, but I don't. So I'm doing takeout and, trying to create social interactions that way. But yeah, my whole world is kind of, I feel like fitness and food, which for me is all fun. So I feel like I just kind of am sitting in those three things at all times, and where how they fit in changes a little bit here and there. But in my world, I feel like they just kind of all merge together.
Thank you very much for being my milestone guest number 5 today. It was a great chat with you, full of a lot of energy, and I thought you brought a lot of unique perspectives. And I just want to give you a chance right now, if you would like to give a plug to Ignite Fitness and reach out to anybody that's in the West Hartford and Avon areas.
Yeah, thanks. Ignite Fitness is what I like to call a personal training club. So the idea is that we offer a lot of the benefits and conveniences of a gym. So full service gym, all the equipment and gym access. All of our clients can come and go and work out as they please outside sessions. But then you have the individualization piece, the customized piece of working with the trainer. So you're doing programs that are very built for your goals and more efficient in mindset. So doing what you need to do to get the results that you're looking for. So if what's worked out nice in today's time is that we have a very controlled population. So we only have clients as members. So we just have less people overall. Everyone's kind of like-minded. It's a very engaging and motivating environment. And with less people, socially distanced and spacing people out and minimizing sharing of equipment and all of that is kind of how we always operate. So that's been a nice kind of thing that's worked out in today's times. But if you need a little help with your fitness and you want to be in a comfortable, clean, motivating, and engaging environment, then Ignite Fitness might be for you.
Thank you again. I'll put the link to Ignite Fitness. Yeah. This part I'll cut. I'll put the link to Ignite Fitness. Oh, I'll put the link to Ignite Fitness in the post down in the notes. So if anybody wants to go spend some time with Kim, she's a lot of fun. I can tell you, I spent 6 to 7 years with her as my trainer, made a lot of progress, but really had a lot of fun every day we came in. So Kim, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you at the next one.